Hey everyone, welcome to On the Edge of Entertainment, where I invite my talented friends from Las Vegas and around the globe to join me to talk about showbiz. And today I have a longtime friend that we used to dance together, and her name is Susan Salgado. We'll tell you all about her. Welcome, Susan.
Thank you for having me. So excited to reconnect with you.
I know, it's great. And we saw each other last year because I was doing the show Blonde Invasion and you came by, and it was so exciting to see you in Las Vegas. I know that you've come here recently and or in the past few years. So welcome to Las Vegas.
Yay, it's been very good. Vegas has been great for us. I'm very excited to be here and just be in the entertainment capital of the world.
Oh, thank you. That means a lot from you coming from LA, because that's the place, and it has been for years. And it's so cool to have Susan on because I'm sure a lot of you know who she is, but if you don't, Susan is a premier dance and music and everything casting agent. She was in the Bobby Ball agency in Los Angeles after we were dancers and stuff. And now she has her own company, Triple-Threat Casting. And yeah, tell us about that, Susan.
Well, quick background. As you know, I started in dance, and that's how we met.
Mm-hmm.
And basically from there, I transitioned to working as a talent agent representing dancers and musicians and choreographers, and they're pretty much top-notch in the industry and for about 10 years at the Bobby Ball agency. And when I left the agency, I got into casting, and 20 years strong, started in 2000. And ironically, I was in Vegas when I met a casting director that was sitting at a blackjack table.
Oh yeah.
We started chatting. Hours later, we found out that we were both in the same industry. I was just starting out then, and he invited me to come meet up some of his bosses and everything else. And fast forward later, here I am still doing casting, and I started my own casting company, Triple-Threat Casting, which I started off a little bit more predominantly in dance and music, but since that's my forte, but then it kind of evolved into more of reality casting, live shows, tours, music videos, commercials, everything you can imagine. And I just so happened to stumble into reality TV because that's when it all started back in 2000.
Oh my gosh, you got in right when it started?
I was
Wow.
there right in the very beginning, and everybody thought it was just a phase. Well, here we are 20 years later, it's still going strong. And I've done anything you can imagine, from reality television shows with talent competitions to home makeovers to beauty makeovers, dating shows, you name it.
Yeah, you're always doing something. It's so cool to be your friend on Facebook because I get to see what it is you're doing. You're like, hey, Coty, do you know anybody that does this or that? So.
And we do a lot of nationwide casting, and sometimes I do global casting. So especially in the last 5 years, we've done a lot more of the virtual casting, if you will, especially now with the pandemic. Everybody's staying at home and, doing a lot of their self-tape videos, and we're doing a lot of Skype interviews. So what better idea to move to Vegas because, I can work anywhere else in the world and I can do my job no matter where I am.
Yes, I mean, and I personally love Vegas. Ever since I moved to Vegas, I mean, I love Los Angeles also, but as soon as I moved to Vegas, I became a working performer, and it's just been amazing for me. I was able to buy a house and things like that. Is that also why you love Vegas? I mean,
bought our home last year, less than 2 years living in Vegas. We would have never been able to do that in LA.
No. Congrats. That's awesome. That's
Thank
awesome.
you very much. Never thought my husband would ever say that he loves Vegas.
Yeah. Well, nowadays you
East
have to
Coast
be.
boy.
He what?
He was an East Coast boy.
Oh.
And we met in LA, and then we moved here. We got married here actually in 2013.
Oh.
So we've been discussing it for a couple of years before we actually made the move. And when we finally did it, he was just like, I never thought I'd ever say I'd love Vegas. So it's been good.
Well, that's good. I'm so glad. I'm glad it worked out for you. Hopefully, you'll be here for a while with us. I hope we
Me
can all
too.
stay.
We
Well,
just got to open up the industry back up so
yes,
everybody
we
can start
do.
working.
And, you know, you and I were talking about the whole virtual thing because, you know, casting directors have been working on the virtual scene for a long time where they audition you, where you send in tapes and things like that. And this is something that I've noticed since I started doing this just recently, that everybody's kind of lacking in. And I guess if you're a performer, we've come to having to record ourselves on video. So in my opinion, and I'm sure you'll agree with me, we got to get this stuff right. We've got to present our best selves if we are auditioning in this realm. So
Well,
tell us about that.
it's the electronic age, and obviously everybody does a lot of selfies. Everybody do a lot of videos on their own, right? So, like you said, they have to perfect it if they want to be in the industry. Especially the way I put it, I always tell everybody it's a job interview. So always present your best self. So if you're putting in a self-tape video, don't make it look like you just rolled out of bed. Don't be in your bedroom where your bed is unkept in the background. You know what I'm saying? So
Yes.
I'm sure you laugh because you've seen them.
Yeah.
Especially, I do a lot of singing casting calls, and you would be very surprised the amount of people that just do their self-tape video, and no matter how much effort we put into giving them the instructions of how to put the video together, that they would actually send you something half-assed, excuse my French. But a lot of these
Yeah.
people just don't think twice. I'm like, did you even look at your video? Do you think this is your best self? And if you were auditioning in front of the executive producers, do you think that's the best that you could have
Right.
done? Right?
Right.
So I always tell everybody, use the information we give you as your checklist. So you are
Absolutely.
putting together the best presentation of yourself. Because if this was your one and only audition in front of the casting directors, producers, executive producers, there's no turning back, right? The
No.
beautiful thing about self-tape videos is that you can do it over, make it
Yeah.
better and better and perfect it. So if you don't make that time and you don't have that mindset that you can perfect your submission, maybe you're not cut out for the job because it
Well,
is work.
this is one of my things. People have always, complimented me on my promo material, the way I do it, the way and luckily I have the ability to go on a computer and know my way around different programs in order to create good video. But I have to say that this is one of my pet peeves, and this is something that I'm teaching also because I know how to do it and I want to help people because I mean, people have often asked me too, you should be an agent? And I said, are you kidding me? I would hate that job because I couldn't deal with artists that give you something that's crappy and then you're like, what? This is a snapshot or a Polaroid or whatever, just something really stupid and it doesn't put your best foot forward.
Welcome to my world. And one thing that I pride myself, and I tell this to a lot of people, because I find something special about you, because I think you're very talented, I will spend every moment, every step by step to get your materials perfected. You will not get that with all the casting
That
directors.
is so nice of you. I couldn't do it. There's no way. That's why I'm going to teach it. So call me if you have somebody that you you
And
need.
I have to tell you, the amount of time to ask them to do it over and over and over again is very time consuming. So a lot of casting directors don't have that time in the world. They give you the materials to use as a checklist. And if you don't follow the instructions, goodbye. See you later. You may not get that opportunity. And here's a perfect example. We just finished casting a big nationwide show, and we traveled to a few cities to meet up with some of them in person. And months prior to leading up to the casting tour, we were curating submissions. And curating is when you spend time with the submissions and tell them what they need, get them to do better materials. And again, I'm going back to singing because you also understand the singing world, that just because you like a certain song doesn't mean it's the best material to put out there, because if you don't sound good, then it's not the right song for you.
Right.
So I go over and over choices with them and make sure they pick the best materials that give them the best representation of themselves. So case in point, the reason I brought this story up is because there are other casting directors on our team. There's like a dozen of us. And there were a handful of talent that were seen by other casting directors and did not spend the time with them. And when they came to me, I asked them, has anyone else worked with you? And they said, yes, so-and-so. But I saw something special about that person.
Yeah.
So I made them redo their videos. I worked with them. They got invited to our VIP casting call in the cities that we went to, and now they're finalists in the show. So that just gives you a bigger picture of what we do. And like I said, not everybody does what I do, because I take that time, being that I was a talent agent and I was a talent first. So I have that side of me that I want to give the talent every opportunity. If this is a once in a lifetime opportunity for them, I want them the best materials that will best represent them.
Well, I hope you get a lot of flowers and tennis bracelets and different things, because you deserve it. I mean, nobody understands also that once they get a big, awesome job, that there's just so many more to follow, and they must owe it all to you if you're spending that time with them.
And you would be very surprised with the amount of people that don't remember you after. It's like we are the first people that kind of open the doors for them, and half the time they forget you, because now when they get in the working mode, once they get in, they only remember the people that they've seen throughout the journey and forgot the people that got them started.
I could never forget that first person, you know.
It's a very small percentage that they'll remember you because you got them where they are now.
Well, there needs to be more people that recognize these things.
But you know what, though? I'll give you a little quick fun fact.
Okay.
This just happened very recently. I think that's one of the things I love what I do, because I make people's lives better, or, you know, it's a life-changing moment for a lot of them, right?
Yeah.
Fun fact about me most recently is one of my executive producers from a show contacted me recently, and she said, I think E! Hollywood Story wants to meet with you. And I said, why would that be? And she goes, because they're doing a story on Meghan Markle, and they want to meet the casting director that hired her on Deal or No Deal.
Oh, wow.
And the funniest thing is they interviewed the exec producers. They met with, they interviewed Howie right before she got married. They interviewed the main casting director, but mostly for contestants. And clearly nobody could remember her because I casted her. Isn't that ironic?
Oh my gosh.
And then I cast Lady Gaga's tour 10 years ago. It was her arena tour. And prior to that casting, she used to replace her band every 6 months, from my understanding, I was told. And when we did that casting, we did LA and New York, and talent came from all over the world to just audition for that. I had people come out from Canada, from Europe, from Australia, just to audition for her to get a spot in the band. So fast forward 10 years later, here we are, and 2 of the band members that I cast from the very beginning is still with her, touring. That's a career job.
For sure. And I hope you get flowers.
I just want to get on her show.
Take me with you.
I've been to 2 of her shows. I haven't seen her show here in Vegas.
I haven't seen the one here yet, but I've seen 2 concerts. I saw 2 concerts here, but not the show that's here in Vegas. So
that's why I love what I do.
Yes, absolutely. So that's one of your claims to fame. Before I ask about another claim to fame, I want to ask you this. What kind of person do you feel like you have to be in order to be an agent?
That's a loaded question.
Well, I say this out of respect, because I just feel like there's so many aspects to your personality that you would have to have that is over and beyond what a lot of people do.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Not very many people are cut out for this kind of work. I always said we were babysitters as a talent agent, because we had to take care of a lot of our clients, and you literally have to walk them through hand in hand on a lot of, from casting calls to the jobs to everything else. You have to be patient. You have, first and foremost, have eye for talent. And coming from a dance background myself, I was fortunate enough that the dancers that we used to represent back in the day, I've danced with. I've seen them in dance studios. I've seen them at auditions. So when I would be sending them out to auditions, I clearly knew who needed to be at that call. I knew who would be perfect for that job, because everybody thinks they're perfect for the job, right? Knowing what the buyers are looking for, it helped me craft our casting calls exactly to what they wanted, and not just send out 20 million gazillion dancers to a casting call because you want the best people to get the job. But at the same time, having been around them helped me get better at my job. So patience, a lot of patience is very important to be a talent agent, because like you said, you know, you're going to have diva clients, you're going to have diva attitudes, and all these people are, we've dropped clients in the past where they made us a lot of money, but it was not worth the headache and the, and all the negative feedback you get because of that talent.
This is one of the things that I wanted to talk about, because entertainers, you know, get this idea that because they're good at what they do, that they can act out however they want. But what they don't realize is you guys want to work with somebody that's easy to get along with, that shows up on time, that doesn't do stupid things. And, you know, a lot of entertainers kind of let that go and think that, you know, hey, I'm awesome and I'm the best, so I'll get hired no matter what. And if it's not this job, it's the next job. But this is a small community, right? And yes, you burn one bridge, you probably burn 10.
You hit a very touchy subject to me, because work ethic. Work ethic is a huge part of a successful talent. And, you know, this happened at a commercial job that I cast dancers on, and one dancer overbooked herself, and in the middle of the shoot, she's rushing the choreographer and the director that she had to leave because she had to hit a rehearsal. Mind you, this is a SAG union commercial job that was 2 days of work. She knew what it was. She knew what the job entailed, and she accepted the booking. And I had to sit down and explain to her, you know, this is not your first rodeo. This is a union job. You know that you don't just tell everybody what you need to do because you have to get to another job. It doesn't work that way. So then she starts blaming it on her agent and her manager. And I'm like, you got to take full accountability. If they're overbooking you and they're not representing you well, this is not a good face for you. So you need to start reflecting on work ethic, because that's going to follow you. That was 3 years ago. No, 2 years ago, and I'm still talking about it because it struck a chord. The whole shoot. And everybody's looking at me like, does she not know what the hours are? Why is she rushing? And that came down on me as the casting person. So I had to call her agent, I had to call her manager, and they're all acting like, oh my God, we didn't know about it. And she's blaming it on them. So you as a talent have to take accountability. You don't just push everything to your agent and manager, why you're not working, why you're overworked. Everybody's always going to blame it on somebody, right?
Yeah.
So I always say, you know, I had to sit her down and explain to her how it works, and she starts crying on the set. And I said, I don't know if you know what I do, what I've done. I said, I was a dance agent once. And if this thing you're trying to pull right now was a client of mine, I would have dropped you in an instant, because that's not a good look for the agency. So again, as a talent representative, the persons that you represent is a reflection of you.
That's a good point. Yeah, that's another way to look at it. Yep.
So if they're going out on auditions looking half ready because they don't know, guess who they're going to blame that on? You as their representative. Oh, my agent didn't tell me that. You know how many times I used to sneak at auditions and just hide on the back behind the scenes just to see what my clients are doing on the set? And then I hear them saying, "Oh, my agent didn't tell me that." And then I just pop up and stick my head out, and they're like, "Oh, I'm sorry, I think I forgot." They're so
Yeah.
quick to blame somebody else because they don't do their homework. And that's another thing. If you're going out on auditions, you're submitting materials, do your homework. You need to know what you're submitting your stuff for. Don't just do blind submissions because you have your ready material that's what you send out to everything. You gotta cater your submissions to what we're looking for. As a casting director, if you're not gonna make the time, I'm not gonna make the time to get you in that show. Simple.
Yeah. Wow. Well, I love the truth, and I think everybody who's an entertainer should really listen to it because it's important. And, you know,
A lot of people forget. A lot of people forget because they think they're the talent and they're bookable and they're going to work all the time. Right?
Yeah.
And like you said, it's a very small industry. Everybody talk to each other. They ask each other questions. I get this all the time with fellow casting directors, and they say, "You worked with so-and-so. How did that person do on that job?"
And you're going to tell the truth, you know?
Oh, I sure will. I won't sugarcoat it.
Yeah.
No matter how good of a talent you are, but if you're going to be a problem child, I will let them know.
So here's the deal. She's going to work harder for you and make sure you get the job and make sure that you're ready and prepared for it. But, you know, once you bring it to the table, it's up to you to continue with that, the gift that she already gave. So.
Absolutely. We're just there to open the doors for you. But you also have to work twice as hard to get in. You know, you can't just be buddies with a casting director and think you can get the job done all the time.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. All right. Well, let me see.
Food for thought.
It is definitely food for thought, and it's very good information. So I can't wait to post this video. And I'll post where everybody can reach Susan also. And give me another claim to fame. Tell me something else.
What else do you want to know? Well, you got Lady Gaga. Oh, Beyonce. Every time I do castings for her, it's always a secret project, and it makes my job very difficult. Lucky enough for me that people do their homework. They search me and they look me up and they know it's legit. It's going to be legit no matter what. So people will still submit. But there have been times where people won't give you their materials because they don't know what the project is for, and they're like trying to pry you to give them information. Well, I can't. If I say I can't, I cannot. But I've done everything from the Grammys with her, the Super Bowl, her tour, and Coachella. So
Awesome.
Those are just a few projects that I've cast for her. And I was blessed to know her musical director, and he came from another show that I cast him on. And he remembered me from that show. And so every time he needed help with casting any of her projects, he would come to me and get me to help him cast it.
That's another example of showing up, doing your job right, and also you helped him initially, and that's why he thought of you also. And he also knew you were a badass, but you know.
He's a badass. And imagine the amount of to be honest with you, the first couple of projects I did for him actually were freebies. And sometimes you got to do those things because they are A-list performers and you want to get in, right?
And that way you were proving yourself also as a loyal friend and person who could handle it. And then he saw you.
And it paid off. And he was always very happy with our casting calls. And so there was an incident with somebody that I used to represent, and I found out that she was tied in with a musician I was trying to locate. And I hit her up and I said, "Hey, this is for a big artist. I can't tell you who it is. I can't tell you what it is for, but trust me, it's going to be a big, big project. It is a big deal." And she pretty much wouldn't give up her talent because she was working with that person. And all she could tell me is, "She's like my sister, and I want to make sure that she doesn't get taken advantage of." I'm like, "Believe me, this is not going to take advantage of her. It's just going to take her to the next level." Didn't give it up. And when the Super Bowl came, I posted it on my Facebook casting page, and I said, "For those of you that submitted during my casting call for the secret project, Here it is. And for those that did not want to submit, that's what you missed out on. Sometimes it is, you know, it is what it is. There are going to be a lot of those projects that will not allow you to say what it is. They just say it's a secret project, it's, you know, special project or something. And luckily for myself, having been around for a long time, like I said, when people just look me up, they see my resume online and they're like, okay, it's got to be legit. It's got to be something major.
Yeah, it's nice to be in that position, right, Susan? I'm happy for you. That's awesome. Yeah.
It kind of freaks me out sometimes. A couple came into a casting call I had one time, and they were like, at the end of the interview, they go, "Can we take a picture with you?" I'm like, "Excuse me?" Because, we looked you up, and we love all the shows that you've cast. And I started blushing. I'm like, that it was so funny. But that just shows you people do their homework. Again, going back to do your homework, do your research before you go to casting. Just a quick recap on the self-tape video. I sent you a diagram.
Okay.
And just quick tips on that one. Always try to shoot yourself on horizontal, like how we are set up right now. So when you're watching it on screen, it looks like you're actually watching them on TV. And then always have a nice outfit color on, because that always pops on camera. So I purposely wore this color because this is one of those good colors to wear on camera.
Love it.
Solid colors are always helpful, just because then it doesn't mess up with the, you have a lot of patterns and stuff. Always make sure you do not have a light on the back of you. Like, don't sit in front of a window. Don't have the light behind you, always in front of you, because then otherwise you're going to look like a silhouette when you have a window behind you. So, but typically we ask that it's a solid white background, because then all the focus is on you.
Very good advice. I'm so glad you got to spend some time with us today. So I think we've gone over, you know, a lot of advice for entertainers. We've shown them what kind of jobs expect what, and it's just been awesome having you here.
But yes, thank you so much for having me anytime. I love, you know, talking about our industry and sharing my experiences to everyone. And it's always nice to reconnect with you.
Absolutely. Hopefully we can get on here and do some specific trainings or something, you know?
Absolutely. Keep me posted.
Okay, sounds good. All right. Take care, Susan. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Coty.
All right.
Until next time.
Until next time. Bye.
Bye.